You know what I mean? You can't, and that's like, look, that's my kryptonite when it comes to laughter. If somebody trips and falls, I'm gonna laugh. And then when I see them going, why are you laughing at me? I'm like, I'm so sorry. Right? Like that's just gonna happen. But
yeah, well, that's different. Yeah, like if you see a friend slip on the ice, and stuff like that.
Or skiing, those are fun falls because they tend to do a little spinning.
I've never been skiing.
So I used to do a bit where I'm like, I make fun of me being fat.
Do you ski?
I used to, and this is the thing is, I'm not a good skier, but I have good balance, right? And I have a fairly low center of gravity. So when I ski, I just kind of and just like laser down the hill, and at the bottom, I'm like, I put I don't even know how to like fancy stop. I'm like, I do like a little pizza wedge, and stop. But I'm going way too fast for safety, like. Because if I hit you, you're gonna die. Like that's just gonna happen.
Well, yeah. Because I'm a tree coming down the hill.
More like a wrecking ball. I'm just like. And the thing is, I've fallen and like done some serious damage to myself before. I was on a school trip, and I was going down. And the thing is, they were teaching us how to do the side to side and side. And I was like, oh okay. And then someone fell in front of me. And I had tried to get out of the way, but by getting out of the way, I pointed my skis directly down the hill, and I just...
You went to a public school and they took you skiing?
Well, we had to pay for it.
And they... Wow, still.
It was like grade 7.
Okay, anyways, cool. Sorry, it was like, holy.
We've had very different childhoods, okay? So I turn to evade the person who's fallen, because I know I have a hard time getting up. And I turn into a rocket ship going downhill. And this is the problem. I know I can't stop in time. So, I see in front of me are all the good skiers, including that who was someone who I used to be very close friends with at school. I still know them and see them every once in a while, but we don't really hang out in the same circles. She was the president, the elected president of our grade, or the school or whatever. And I'm heading right for her and the instructor, like a rocket ship, okay? And it's not good. So I'm like, you know what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna try and fall, just to like stop myself. Now, what happened was I did the kind of like kind of stopping, but I went down hard. I leaned a lot more to try and like grab on to stuff too. But what happened was my skis kind of hit a groove, and I essentially hit a bump and the groove at the same time, causing me to start spinning. I'm on my side. I'm on my side going down like a rocket ship. I bounce into the air, spinning. I essentially wrap my back around the trunk of a tree. Okay. Oh. Continue, and then I continue. So I hit it like a bumper pool type thing. I hit it, spin off, back onto the slope, and stop. And I'm like, whoa!
Oh my god, Tino, if technology was like it was today, you would be a YouTube star.
Right? Like, this was...
like a YouTube superstar. That sounds hilarious.
Listen, the best part is, everyone is now watching this as I slowly, like, get up and, like, click on my skis again. The instructor from the bottom of the hill, which now, like, so at that point, I was grade 7, so I was, like, 12 years old, okay?
Yeah.
I'm looking down. I was already like probably around 5'9", 5'10", okay, at that age.
Yeah.
Like I was already starting to grow and I was already fat. He's at the bottom of the hill. I'm like 2/3 of the way down. He looks up, he's like, "You all right?" And I look at him, I'm like, "No." And he's like, "You should probably go back and do some more training." And I'm like, "Thanks, guy." And he's like,
"Oh my god."
He gave me a thumbs up. He's like, "All right." And he just left. He left with everyone else who was at the bottom of the hill. Everyone there was like, "Dude, the shit you just pulled," like, it was a nightmare. And and literally, the thing is, so this, every other time I'd gone skiing, I had gone on the shitty hills, and that was it. And they wouldn't even, because you had to be better to get ski poles. fuck you, right? So
What? Wait.
Oh
wait
yeah,
a
yeah.
second.
Oh no,
So
it was stupid.
You don't get ski poles until you're better? Don't you think you need ski poles in order to... How do you ski without poles?
So you would go down the like baby hill, like the training hill, and they would
Without
say,
poles,
"Oh,
though?
without poles," and they would
Don't
say,
the poles make it
"Don't even
easier,
start."
like training wheels?
No, well, no. I think they're just
Like,
they
I
help
think
you
use
guide
no
yourself, right?
poles if you were a champ and you were like, look at me go.
So the funny thing is, but there's more to this. So they would judge by how you went down the training hill, and say whether you were going to get to go onto the bigger hills or whatever. So what happened was they said, "Hey, you did pretty good. We're going to try you on a better hill, which was the one I fell on, before we give you poles." Nobody else had poles. Okay. Now hold on, it gets better. Then so I'm like, fuck this guy. I just went and did the shitty hills. I'm 12 years old. I'm like, whatever, right? I'm sure I did irreparable damage to my spine that day. 100% sure, right?
You're still paying for it.
I think it was that was at Hockley Valley. I think it was at Hockley Valley. It may have been Blue Mountain. I'm not sure. I think it was Hockley Valley. Anyways, so the funny thing is this. Years later, I would go skiing occasionally with other friends. And my second oldest brother would be the one that he would go as well. We would go. There would be a bunch of people going. And he would always be into like what's new about certain things. So like you would get a snowboard, and then there was skis that you could get. There were like little mini snowboards. So it was like they were this big, and you had one on each foot. Like it was, but then there were poles that were like bent to be like more assistful. And what happened was when we went, you rent stuff and you get poles automatically, unlike when the school trips. At the end of the day, I walk in and my own brother is like, "Hey, where'd you get the wicked poles? And I'm like, "Oh, they're not wicked. I just fell on them and they're all bent." So they were all bent up. And I returned them and I'm like, "What do you want me to do?" And they're like, "What the fuck?" And I'm like, "I don't know. What do you want me to do? The skis are good and the boots are fine." But that's why, and then, so eventually I was telling a joke a while ago where I'd say how I had to stop skiing because the fact is at this size, if I fall, I'm gonna die there. Like that's where I'm gonna have to live from now on
But you might have more stability because you're bigger.
No,
so that's what
it
I was
just
thinking.
becomes more speed.
I was like, if you're able to balance, maybe you'd have more like just duck, like crouch down low.
But that turns me into a cannonball. I go from wrecking ball to cannonball. It's not good. So, and the joke is,
take out the little people. They're durable.
and that's why I said like, there's no like rescue operation for someone my size. Like the snowmobiles they can't drag me up from a hill. Like that's it. I'm gonna have to live there and hope like a rabbit comes by so I can just grab it. Yeah. So I'm like,
come get you in a Jeep.
Oh yeah, no, that's not gonna work. How are you gonna get it in there? I'm telling you.
Trust me, I can get in there. I'll get in there.
To do what? You couldn't lift my one arm, lady. She's like, "I'd save you." I'm like, I'm gonna die here. I'm just saying, if I called the ambulance and was like, "Hey, I need help to go to the hospital," and they sent her as the ambulance person, I'd be like, "I'm gonna fucking die at home. I'm gonna die at home. Nope. That's what's gonna happen. I'm gonna die here because you're not fucking moving shit." Do you know how many times?
Trust me. I've had a single womanly move myself. Like literally, like all my furniture and everything, a big china cabinet, did it by myself. You just have to take little by little. You just gotta like...
I don't own little on my body, okay? There's not one part.
And that stuff's dead weight. It doesn't help you at all. Like...
Listen guys, I'll be honest with you, there's no part in my body that I would categorize as little. It just doesn't, there's no, and I'm not, you can't disassemble me. I'm stuck together.
There's a 52-inch box screen Sony television. You know, the big old ones with the big box on the back of them?
Yeah, I'm moving.
This lady.
Yeah.
Up an entire flight of stairs. Completely. By herself. So tell me.
I'll be honest, you're saying that like it's an achievement. It's not. That is a bad choice.
Those things are huge.
Yeah,
they're like 500 pounds.
That is a poor decision.
They're like I know it was.
And-
My back's probably. This is probably why I can't get comfortable. Like I slept on the floor last night. I slept on my